So it's important that we start that way with this breath, body, central focus to really, like I said, collect and gather and sustain the capacity of our minds to be more still. And from that stillness, this really beautiful self-trust comes. I mean, we can trust ourselves more because we're not at the whimsy of that chaotic mind.
Welcome to the Be Here Now guest podcast. This series features a collection of teachings and conversations centered around mindfulness, spiritual growth, and living a life in balance. Each week, our diverse network of guest teachers and hosts offer up wisdom and practices from a different spiritual path and perspective. If you would like to support this podcast, please visit BeHereNowNetwork.com/donate.
I really just want to talk a little bit about the importance of the quality of allowing the mind to collect itself and gather and settle through using one object of practice. And you may not feel it now, you may not notice it now, but your minds are much calmer. It might not feel it, but if you were to go back out into the world now, you would really see the stillness that you've acquired in your minds. So it's important that we start that way with this breath, body, central focus to really, like I said, collect and gather and sustain the capacity of our minds to be more still. And from that stillness, this really beautiful self-trust comes. I mean, we can trust ourselves more because we're not at the whimsy of that chaotic mind. We're not at the whimsy of just whatever the mind tells us to do, we become, or we do, or we behave, because that mind is telling us to. When it's more still, when it's more calm, when it's more collected, the deeper wisdom, the deeper truths are much more clear. Now, that doesn't mean that we like the deeper truth or wisdom, right? They can be hard. But there's clarity in it. There might be clarity in endings that we didn't want to see before, we didn't like, but there's clarity in it. So that's what collecting the mind helps us do. And then the next step in the process, once we feel collected enough, is to then open up to other possibilities. So today, I'd like us to include sound in the practice. And doing sound, and we'll do this as we're doing the meditation, sound is really allowing yourself to hear whatever sound arises as it arises. So it might be a bird, and instead of going off into the bird story, just hearing the bird. It might be the wind. It might be a person's footsteps. It might even be an inner sound. It might be a thought. Just hearing it at hearing level without perpetuating sort of the perceptual process after that. Just seeing what hearing is as hearing, the bell as hearing. It's actually quite a fun practice. I really love sound. Also, if a thought does pop in, noticing a thought has arisen. It's a thought, knowing the thought's there. It's okay, seeing what it's like not to get caught into the thought. And then returning back to a state of presence. Maybe you'll feel a bodily sensation. Moving to that, really letting yourself explore that. The practice is going to move a little bit more. When your eyes are open, you'll notice the sense door of vision. The sense door of vision is very strong. It's powerful. And what can happen if we just see something as seen? Just right here, seeing? The difference between seeing and then making something of it. See what it's like just to see. Sort of like from a child's mind, like you've never seen it before. And then the last thing I want to say before we start the practice is working on inclining the mind towards what's good, what's beautiful today. It's really easy to pay attention to and really get into what's hard, and then we miss the beauty. So see what it's like if you did, like, maybe today I'm going to do 50-50. Today I'm going to ask myself to see 50% beauty. If you're not feeling the 50% unbeauty, don't do it. Don't force yourself. But if you've really been inclined towards what's difficult and the suffering in your life and the suffering in your mind, start inclining the mind towards, okay, I need a count of, JoAnna wants a report, I need a count of 50% beautiful and 50% of what didn't feel so easy today. And that's the cultivation piece I was talking about in the metta. Really working that muscle, working that capacity. Okay? So allowing yourselves to settle. Finding this posture that has become a bit of a home now, where you come to every time you're in the hall. And always first allowing yourself to arrive. Kind of setting the intention to right now, this is my practice period. Right now, I will be here for myself. Right now, I will see and feel and hear from direct experience, from what is happening now, not from where my mind is taking me. It's really allowing yourself to connect into your body, feeling its weight and its density of this flesh suit that we're sitting in. Maybe feeling the warmth of it or a coolness. Maybe you can feel vibration, pulsation. The pull of gravity. The expanding and contracting that's happening with each breath. All of these myriad of sensations that if we directly know them, helps us know that we're right here. We so often miss them because we live in our heads. But just allowing yourself to really experience all of the sensations in the body. See how interested you can become in the sensations of your body. There's so much going on. And if your inclination is pulled towards what is uncomfortable in your body, see if you can find an area, a part, that actually feels okay. see if you can shift your awareness to the body part that might actually feel good, or at least doesn't feel bad. Or maybe just a global experience of the body. The whole organism working together, breathing and feeling and sensing. And then next I'm going to have you shift your attention to sound. So now just paying attention to that which hits your eardrums. When we think of sound, it's merely a vibration on the eardrum. But once it enters our mind, we then have a visual of what we've heard. And then we have our ideas that are pre-formulated around that visual. So see what it's like to just let sound be sound. It's hard to separate sometimes, but hearing a creak instead of saying that's a creak of a door, hearing just the creak. The birds, maybe it's just chirping. Who knows what it's from? Also really noticing the sound of silence. The space is void of what we consider sound. The spaciousness. Now I'd like you to open your eyes ever so slightly, just gazing in front of you. And now taking in sight. Seeing shapes, colors, shadow, light. Just noticing if we look at objects very simply, as those shapes and colors and shadows and light, it's very different than immediately having the idea of what they are. It's just allowing seeing just to be the seeing of an object without a decision about it. And noticing whatever it is that you're seeing right now, the multiple dimensions of it, even if it's something very simple. The curves, the straight lines, the many shadings and shadows. And then closing your eyes again. And perhaps seeing images inside the eyes. Again, can we just see without making a lot of meaning? Simply seeing, simply hearing, simply sensing, feeling. If the mind starts to get very busy, just re-engage again with your body, your breathing. So today we're going to let yourself explore more into sight and sound and thought. And always knowing that home base can be back into your breathing or your body. Recollect, regather, resettle. And then go back out and touch into other sensations. Do not say that I'll depart tomorrow, because even today I still arrive. Look deeply. I arrive in every second to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with wings so fragile, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, in order to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that are alive. I am the mayfly metamorphosizing on the surface of the river, and I am the bird which, while spring comes, arrives in time to eat the mayfly. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom in all walks of life. My pain is like a river of tears, so full it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughs at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up. And so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion.